Hey, it's Brad from myBSlife. Welcome to BS Banter number 10. This week we're doing something a little bit different because it's back to school time and you always love a back to school special. What I'm going to do with you is I'm going to share with you one story from each of the 7 first years I went to school. Senior kindergarten right up to grade 6. A stroll down memory lane. If you haven't had a chance, hit subscribe. And in the comments below, make sure you share with me one of your favorite back to school stories because I do love those back to school stories for sure. So here we go. We're going to get started right now. No further ado. No slowing down. We are right in this BS Banter number 10. That's right. One for each finger on your hands. Yeah, there's 10 fingers. I've got 10 fingers. So 10 BS Banters. Here we go. Let's hit it. Hit subscribe. Share your comments. Give me a thumbs up. And let's hear what happened in senior kindergarten. Hey, great to see you. Brad from myBSlife. Nice for you to join me for a story. As we go back to school, I thought something that would be a lot of fun is share some back to school stories with you. So we're gonna do a quick walkthrough as we're gonna go from senior kindergarten right up to grade 6. Now I'd start with JK, but to be honest, I don't remember JK. In senior kindergarten, as a lot of you know, a big part of senior kindergarten is making friends, which is why we're here on the buddy bench. You get a chance, you often get to sit crisscross applesauce maybe, or sometimes you just sit because you're trying to be well behaved, you're trying to be good. So you sit on the buddy bench, you get to know some people. Well, in senior kindergarten, one of the people I got to meet was my new teacher. Her name was Mrs. Johansson. Well, Mrs. Johansson, what she would do is she and I, we would sometimes butt heads. I don't know how it happened, but because I was chatty and free-spirited, she would sometimes have a problem. Well, one day I was sharing my free spirit. I was telling some stories to my friends. Next thing you know, I was being punished. So, classic, Mrs. Johansson put me behind the piano. Now you think, Brad, that's a little bit harsh being sent behind the piano. True, but not as harsh as what happened next. Mrs. Johansson then gathered all the students around on the other side of the piano, and she began to lead a sing-song. 100% true. Tinkling the ivories, whatever the piano sounds were, she made them. I was on the other side of the piano, just trying to keep my head above water. Mrs. Johansson, not cool. Not cool at all. Little Brad behind the piano, not cool. But Mrs. Johansson, I'm still free-spirited. I've still got a lot on my mind. But to this day, I still don't play the piano. Senior kindergarten. Let's go to grade 1. So it's grade 1. And as you know, we're all trying to explore a little bit. But there's still that point where our parents are trying to keep us under their wraps. That didn't work for me, you see. So what I did is this. We had this little window at the front of the house. And if I opened the door, they could always hear me and know when I was trying to get out of the house. Not like I was trying to escape, but I had a bit of a free spirit. So I'd slide the window open, I'd shimmy out and head out the front door and start walking down the street. Well, as you know, when you're little, you're not worried so much about what you're wearing. So I would always just take 2 things, the essentials. I'd put on my rubber boots and I'd wear my cap gun belt. So I had my 2 cap guns, my belt, and my rubber boots. Nothing else. Starkers naked besides that. And I'd always get 4 or 5 houses up the road. I'd say hi to people. I'd smile. People were always super friendly with me. But by house number 4, that was the neighbors we knew well. She'd always see me out the window, run out, grab me, walk me back by the hand and tell my mom, by the way, Brad got out of the house again and he's stark naked. You know how it is. Haven't you just wanted to head out in your rubber boots and cap guns? Always be prepared, right? Nothing to it. Rubber boots, cap gun, what else need besides a free spirit, of course? That's grade 1. Okay, so we're in grade 2, and as a lot of you know, in grade 2, you're really starting to explore and get to know who you are as a person. Well, one of the things you do in grade 2 is you start to watch a lot of TV. Well, one of my favorite shows at the time was Dukes of Hazzard. Well, what made Dukes of Hazzard so cool to me was these 2 cousins, Bo and Luke Duke, and they would go in and out of the car through the window every time. Well, some of you already know where this story's going. Well, let me fill in the rest of you. You see, what happened was this. One day, I was driving home with my mother. I was sitting in the front seat of the car because you could sit in the front seat then. And we were driving along. Well, we were getting close to the neighborhood. In fact, we were really close to home. So I did what all young fans of any adventure type show do. I jumped out the car window and tried to land on the grass. The problem was I didn't quite make the lawn. What happened was I hit the curb, snapped my arm in 2 places, here and here, because the curb is shaped like this. My mom slams on the brakes. Brad, are you okay? I pop right up. I'm like, Mom, I think I hurt my arm. Whoa, because there's shoulder, elbow, break, wrist. Needless to say, we had a trip to the hospital. We got me all fixed up. And 2 things we learned that day. 1, This is why children are forced to sit in the back seat with 5-point harnesses is my guess. The windows don't come all the way down. And secondly, this is why my penmanship is still really poor, because I broke my right arm, my dominant arm in grade 2, and it's never fully recovered. Grade 2, I tell you, so many little adventures. So grade 3, one of my favorite, this is probably my all-time favorite teacher. Her name was Miss Ward. Miss Ward, if you're out there and you see this, awesome. You helped shape my school career. You were amazing. You were so much fun. Anyway, grade 3, I'd auditioned for the school play and I got the lead role. Wow, co-lead role, because we're only allowed so many nights of the week we're allowed to be out. Anyway, my role, I was the singing dude. So what I had a chance to do was I had a chance to sing. It was a musical, I had the lead number. Part of the song went like this. I wanna go west into the sunset, where the skies are never cloudy all the day. I wanna go west into the sunset, where the deer and antelope, they love to play. I wanna be in open spaces, don't wanna be fenced in. Anyway, it's something like that. This wasn't the issue. As much as I love that song and I still remember it to this day, the issue was this. Miss Ward said I needed braces. I was like, why do I need to get braces? She's like, you need to get braces to be in the show. And so immediately I had my heart just sunk, because I had good teeth, still no cavities to this day. I had good teeth, and I thought, I don't want to get braces just to be in the show. So I told her, I said, Miss Ward, I don't want to be in the show anymore. I don't want to have to get braces. She's like, Brad, you can take them off after. I said, no, I see kids, they've got those braces, they've got the big pieces of headgear all wrapped around them. What she meant, she said, Brad, not those kind of braces. She goes, braces you wear to hold your pants up, suspenders. I was like, Miss Ward, of course, I should have known you would have never wanted to put braces on these teeth. She's like, no, Brad, you have beautiful teeth. Miss Ward, still warms my heart just thinking about you. Miss Ward. Now, as a lot of us know, by grade 4, we're getting more and more independent. So one of the things I love to do was ride my bicycle to the park. Now, when you get to the park, you'd often like to play tag. And I don't know what your rules are where you live, but the rules where I live, you were never allowed to touch the sand when you were playing the game. So we called sneak tag. You'd have to sneak across the sand. If someone saw you on it, you were automatically it. Or you just go from structure to structure. But the problem is some structures really kept you limited. So what I started to do is I would walk across the top of where the tire would swing. So I'd balance on the beam. It was a 4x4. I'd walk across the top of that, because then it was way harder to catch me right on the other side. Well, one time I came down, I hopped down, and I climbed up the other side. Then I was walking across the top of the monkey bars. Thankfully, I've got very, very grippy feet. I had no shoes on, no socks on. I jumped down on the other side to run, and unfortunately, I put a nail right through the top of my foot. It was about this big, so if you can't see that, about an inch, came right up through my heel. Not an inch, maybe half an inch. Let's go with half an inch, right up through the heel. But it wasn't the pokey part, it was the big flat part, but because all my weight, 96 pounds, or whatever I weighed in grade 4, came down and it went right through. But that wasn't the end of the story. I knew I'd get in trouble going home telling mom and dad the fact I had my shoes off at the park. So what I did is this. I had to run through the sand in my bare feet, which wasn't ideal because yes, I did pack some sand in the cut. Then I got on my bicycle, I biked home, and then I went into the house stealthily, sneaky style. I got a bottle of peroxide, went out back, scraped the sand out of my foot with my fingernail, poured the peroxide on it, put a Band-Aid on, never told mom and dad. And they still don't know to this day. And the fact they never watch my videos means they probably still won't know. That was my story from grade 4. It didn't go great, but in the end, I never got caught in sneak tag. That's right. So grade 5 came around, and one of my favorite parts about grade 5 is I made a brand new friend. His name was Rufai. He was amazing. He was a diplomat, so his car had these really, really cool red license plates on them, so they could park anywhere, and there were no rules for them as far as I knew back then. But what made Rufai even more cool is because he and I were buddies, we were pals, he would pick me up and drive me to school. Well, not him, but his driver would come by. What made this even more interesting is I literally lived across the street from the school I was going to. Literally, one house over, walk through the path at this point and go to that school. But instead, Rufai's driver would come from his street all the way down, pick me up in a big Cadillac, pick me up. He would open the door for me as a grade 5 student. This was epic. Drive all the way around, way farther, and drop me off in the front of the school. I felt like a celebrity. Grade 5, every snow day, every rainy day. Route 5, if you see this, I'd love to hear back from you. You were the man, your driver was the man. Some of my best times of my life. I've never had service like that. Love the driver. Route 5, you are missed, my friend. That was grade 5. Grade 6. Now this is my final year in my elementary school, and for a lot of you, this is because you're finally the big man on campus. Correct myself. The big person on campus. So you're finally there. I'm in grade 6. Classroom is amazing. We're loving what's going on. We've been together for 6 years together, most of us, mixing between the two classes. Sometimes you bump heads with each other, but you know how it is. I finally had one of the guys in my class, Kent. Great guy, so much fun. He was in my class for years and years and years. But this year, Kent had a new, shall we say, snacking habit. And this worked out so well for me. You see, when cold and flu season came around, Kent was always hungry. But Kent really started to garner, shall we say, an appetite or flavor for eating other people's used Kleenexes. Yeah, you heard me right. Literally, people would blow their nose. The heavier, the meatier, the juicier the tissue, Kent would swallow those things down like little, he would take them all down. This isn't the best part. The best part is still coming. What this meant, though, is Kent was too full for his snacks and his lunch at recess and lunch hour. It was amazing. Every day, I got Kent's Oreos. I got Kent's cheese treats. I got Kent's Joe Louis. All kinds of treats my parents never gave me because for some reason, I wasn't allowed any sugared cereals or candy until I was 16. Can you believe it? True story. Grade 6, one of my biggest memories of grade 6, once again, Kent, wherever you are, if you're seeing this, shoot me a message. Still think of you fondly, my friend, and the fact you ate so many of my Kleenexes and our entire class's Kleenexes for months. Because as you can understand, in Ottawa, Canada, it gets cold, it gets snowy, people get sick all the time. And as I sit here outside elementary school, beautiful spot, Kent, you were the man. Much street cred. Nice work, Kent. That's grade 6. One of the things we always love about back to school is a fresh haircut. Well, as a lot of you know, I don't even know how much hair to cut, but one thing I do have is this beard which needs to go. Oh yeah, let's take this thing right down as we go along. So where we're going next, BS Banter. We've already had a chance to do a stroll down memory lane for me. The next thing we're planning on doing is we are going to cover the world map. Now, my favorite thing about the world map is every week seeing how we're progressing, how we're making progress. And now I have just made enough progress where I am ready, clean cut, clean shaven, look at this, and ready to go back to school. Let's do it. Freshly shaven and ready to go, as you know. And this is one of the things, if you're gonna travel the world, you wanna go out with a fresh shave. And I had a lot of positive feedback on the school bus burpees, so I thought, might as well, let's do some of our back to school stuff in a school bus as we get going. So right now, our back to school bus update is this week we heard back from Egypt, Italy, Switzerland, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Philippines, California, Lorraine, France, bonjour mes amis, Florida, Indonesia, New York, of course, India, Korea, I'm guessing South Korea? Could be North Korea. If it's North Korea, that is definitely new to the map. I'm going to assume South Korea. They just said Korea. And finally, Denmark. Another amazing week in the world of the BS Life community. Thank you so much. If you haven't told me where you're from yet, make sure you let me know where in the world you are, because we might just be getting in there and driving along our way to head that direction. That's right. Let's do it. School bus drive with Brad. We could fill the back of this bus with the BS community. How fun would that be? It would be an epic ride. Yes. Welcome to the Oath. As always, my favorite time of the week. So right now we're going to get into the outlandish story of the week. And I can see right now, I did not cut this sideburn the same length as this sideburn. I also missed a big chunk of hair right here. That's what happens if you shave in the mirror of a school bus. So if any of you are a little late for work and you're doing a quick shave, might I suggest... Actually, that looks very throwback. This is much... Anyway, I'm gonna have to sort that stuff out. I digress. But if you're late for something and you see people shave in the mirror all the time, clearly there's an art to that. As someone who's never shaved in a school bus mirror before, this is a steep learning curve. But I want to get into the outlandish story of the week. The outlandish story of the week is they did a research study in Britain, and they got in the fact of what does your breakfast say about you as a person. So let me share just some of the highlights. I don't normally read stuff. I'm going to read these for you. So first of all, it says this. If you've smoked salmon and cream cheese on a bagel, that is a huge sign that you're an extrovert. The highest number of people who identify with being an extrovert eat this for breakfast. But if you love peanut butter on toast, and I'm a big peanut butter fan, I'm going to leave it at that. If you also love peanut butter on toast, it means you are a passionate lover. This is the case for 57% of the people. So, if you're someone who loves a bowl of cereal, it means you're dependable. So, if you're someone who loves a bowl of cereal and eats a lot of peanut butter, this means you're a dependable, passionate lover. That could be describing someone who is on screen right now, because I love peanut butter and I eat cereal basically every single day. Some of the other ones, if you love smashed avocado and sourdough, that means you're well-traveled. If you like Marmite on toast, that means you're well-read. If you eat a banana for breakfast every day, it means you're stressed. So some of my banana-eating friends, if you're stressed out, maybe have some peanut butter for breakfast. If you're someone who eats a lot of yogurt and berries for breakfast, based on the study, out of the UK, it means you're emotional. And finally, if you skip breakfast altogether, it means you're an introvert. Where do you stand on this? Do you agree with this breakfast take? Do you agree with what these breakfast things mean? Or is this story just completely outlandish to you? Let me know what you think. That's our outlandish story. What does your breakfast say about you? Our wild story this week, and by wild, I mean literally wild, is the fact that a bunch of buffalo escaped from Lieb Farms near Monticello. Now, you think, how does this affect back to school on a back to school special? Funny you should ask. It happens because they're rerouting school buses in the area. What happened is a latch broke, the buffalo escaped. Now, the deputies have attempted to catch all these buffalo, but there's still some that have managed to elude. So there's some very elusive bovine out in Piatt County. But just so you know, the sheriff has put a warning to not approach the buffalo because they can be dangerous when they feel threatened. So, if you live in that area, if you're part of the BS community, be aware, there's buffalo on the loose. At least there were. They could still be on the loose. I haven't an update. But that's the wild story. So if your kids are on school buses, make sure they know, do not try and feed, do not try and get too close to the buffalo, because the buffalo roam. And as we know from the singing dude earlier, the buffalo roam where they roam. That's right. That is the wild story this week. So this week's fun oaf is just that. It's amazing. And this guy, he would definitely be at the front of the bus or the back of the bus, wherever he chose. Tony Miles in Virginia bought 20 lotto tickets. That's right, 20. He's originally from Boston, but he bought them in Virginia, 20 tickets. Each one with the winning numbers 1929 as he went through. In the end, he won $100,000 combined. How fun is that? So if you're going back to school and you feel like you won the lottery because your house is a little quieter, a little sleepier, a little softer, and you can squeeze in that midday nap, you're living it up like Tony Miles, who just won 20 times. How much fun is that? He can sit anywhere on this bus. I'm in the front seat. Not the driver's seat. That's reserved for special occasions. But I'm in the front seat. Tony Miles can sit wherever he wants. Do you feel like Tony Miles? Is it a fun day for you today? We both know it is. All right, first question here from Daniel Tustin. He says, these locations, how did you get in the parking lot? My favorite memories are probably just all of the field trips I've gone on. I love hearing your stories about field trips. Field trips are amazing. That's what these big yellow buses are so good for, is going on field trips. Amazing. Thank you, Daniel. And how did I get in the parking lot? Just kind of wandered in. Yeah. Run with Brad shares a story with me, which I always love. Not just because his name's Brad, my name's Brad, so we're kind of like fellow Bradskins. Bradkins? You know what I mean. Anyway, he says this. We had this one bus driver who'd let us play hang from the book bag racks on the last day of school. We had this one hill in our neighborhood and dropped real quick. We'd spill all the way next to the lake and then we'd haul ass down it. We'd jump right up, we'd hit the hill so it was flying. Totally unsafe, haha, but it was fun. I remember, Brad, I love this story. I remember also being on buses where you'd hit that bump at the back and you'd just go rocketing up in the air. Good times on school buses. The fact they have no seatbelts, it makes a lot of sense. Keen performance. Brad, did they let you on the school bus so you could take your thumbnail picture? Very clever, my friend. Keen. I love getting thumbnails different places. I love working out different places, as you know. For me, I don't drive a school bus. None of these school buses are my school bus, but I do love a good school bus, my friend. CL Furlong says, how do you find Streamyard? Any reason you used it in particular, or? And then, well done on my first stream. How do I find Streamyard? Streamyard was recommended to me, and the reason why I use Streamyard on the on the live stream is because Streamyard gives me the ability to highlight people's comments and put them on the screen so other people can see them. It also allows you to put moderators and things like that on. For my first live stream, it was pretty small, I wasn't worried about that, but it really gave me a chance to do a few different things, and it also lets you test it ahead of time. For my first live stream, Streamyard was free, didn't cost me anything, signed up, it literally took me 30 seconds and I had it all hooked up to YouTube, ready to go. Super easy, great question, Chris, and for any of you guys looking at running your first live, that's how I did it, and it was really straightforward. This week's recap, another great week in the world of the BS community. We started this week with a recap of my 1K a day week, the hardest week of my life. I recap the mukbang, the 1,000 grain of rice challenge. I talk about the 1,000 flights of stairs. I talk about driving the 1,000 kilometers. I get into the fact I did 1,001 burpees. I do the 1,000 meter swim. And I'm missing one, but it was, I pushed the car 1,000 meters, of course, from there. And that was a killer week, so hard on the body. Thankfully, I drove the 1,000K to help rest it up one day, as well as the mukbang. And if you haven't tried eating raw rice, it's up to you. Now I can see why more people traditionally cook it, has a different vibe. Also, a lot of people gave me a hard time about not washing the rice. Anytime I take food out of a bag, I feel like it's already cleaned. Apparently that's not the case. Thank you to so many of you who worried about my health. Thankfully, my stomach's pretty good. Second day this week, I had a great outdoor workout where I did it was only 20 minutes. It was 2 minutes per up and down the gasser, I called it. It was 2 minutes of 1 pumps, 2 minutes of 2 pumps, 2 minutes of 3 pumps, 2 minutes of 4 pumps, 2 minutes of 5 pumps, up and down. Did that for 20 minutes. That was a great workout, a really quick one if you're looking for a quick workout. After that, I did my first ever live stream, which is amazing. I had the picture of me with the deer. You guys asked me all kinds of questions. It was great. And I basically just told stories going on. Gonna do another live coming up. I'm excited about that. And then the other work I did this week was the really quick one. I actually filmed it in a school bus yard, very similar to this one. And when I was there, it was a chance for me to get into the fact that in and out, really quick workout, about 16 minutes, but it was fantastic. Which gets me thinking, next Saturday, I'm gonna do my first live workout. So normally I post a workout on Saturday morning. This next week, as in like 6 days from now, I'm gonna do the workout. It's gonna be at 10 a.m. as always, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So for those of you on the West Coast, it's 7 a.m. I'm gonna work out for 1 hour straight. It's an EMOM every minute on the minute. I'm gonna do an exercise, I'm gonna post that for you guys. And your goal is to join me for just 20 minutes. So you're gonna work out for just 20 minutes of it. It will be able to work for any of your physical abilities, any of your levels. I'm gonna have a beginner and an intermediate and a hard level, but your goal is just to participate for 20 minutes only. And it's not gonna be working out straight for 20 minutes because every minute on the minute you'd start again. So for instance, if say your goal is 2 knee touches, 2 burpees, and 2 sit-ups, that's what you're gonna try and get done in 1 minute. You rest the rest of the minute and you start again when the next minute begins. Pretty straightforward. I'm gonna outline that more in detail. I'll put that in a post as this week goes on. That was this week. Amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of my BS life. Look at me. Like, where else would I wanna be besides on a school bus on a beautiful day like this? It's back to school week. Back to school. Enjoy it. What a great, great day to be a part of the BS community. Thank you, my friends. So, that's it. Another great week of BS Banter. And as you can see, we just love this stuff. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for the community we're building. It is so good. And every day I just think about all of you and I think, how much fun do we have together? If you haven't a chance, please hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, and be a part of my BS life. I'd love to hear from you. And like I said, if you have a chance, share with me your favorite back to school story of all time. School buses. I see them now in a different light than I ever did as a child. So much fun. I hope you had a great week too. I really hope I see all of you guys next Saturday for the live. It's gonna be an awesome workout. Until then, thank you for being so great, and thank you for being a great part of my BS life. Until next time.